Well guys, how you doing? I'm back here at St James's Park, sheltering in my car because the rain is biblical outside. I was just about to say it's not stopped, but I actually think it has stopped for the first time in the last 24 hours. Just got dry from the match last night and got the call to say this Tonali news was about to break. So back here at the stadium today, providing updates for it on Sky Sports News, and I thought I would just kind of give you guys on YouTube who perhaps don't watch the channel a rundown on where we're at with it. So yeah, I'm going to break it into three different sections. Firstly, what it means in terms of the ban. Secondly, what it means in terms of the community work rehab programme. And thirdly, what it means for Newcastle moving forward in terms of how they deal with Sandro Tonali's absence. So here goes. Okay, so part one is the ban. I'm sure you'll all be aware now that Tonali has agreed alongside his legal team a 10-month ban from football worldwide. So that means he won't be able to play any football matches until the end of August next year, and obviously the new season will have started by that point. So out until the end of the season, he'll miss the Euros for Italy should they qualify, and he won't be able to play any competitive football until the end of August, so he'll probably miss the first couple of games of next season as well. So listen, a long ban for Sandro Tonali. Could have been longer, could have been up to 3 years for the offence that he's committed, but because he has been so open, he's been honest, he's been transparent, he has cooperated with the investigation. He went over to Turin last week to see them in person, handed over his devices, and he's just made it easier for them. You know, he's admitted his guilt. He's admitted that he's betted on matches. He's admitted he's betted on matches in which he's played in for AC Milan. So, listen, he's been fully transparent, and because of that, he's been able to agree what is a plea bargain. So rather than get a 3-year ban or a 2-year ban, him and his legal team have come to agree, there's the rain back on again, have come to agree that 10-month ban from football, which in the face of it seems very, very long, but it could have been a whole lot longer had he not been so proactive with his help in the case. Now, alongside the ban, he has received a community order, which I will get onto in the second part. Essentially, what this is it's an 18-month ban from football, of which 8 of them are suspended. So that means it's only 10 months from football, so he has to agree to the community order, which I'm going to get into in part 2 here. Forget about that for now. He has also had to pay a fine of 20,000 euros. And as I say, will not be allowed to play football. However, it's our understanding from our colleagues over in Sky Italy who have been in Turin for the case and have been right across the story from the start, it's their understanding that Tonali will be allowed to train with Newcastle during the 10 months. So it'll be interesting to see what Newcastle do, whether they allow him to go back to Italy for part of it, or they decide to keep him here and make him train with the team. It's an unusual situation. Obviously, it's even different to the Ivan Toney one, who wasn't allowed to train with his teammates. So that'll be an unusual one, almost unprecedented, really, to see what Newcastle are going to do with regards to that. But it's their information over in Sky Italy, my colleagues there, that he will be allowed to train with Newcastle for the duration of his suspension. So at least he can keep fit and he can keep his sort of himself active away from dealing with the personal side of things. He'll be able to train and work on his fitness. And do you know what? If he is with Newcastle, probably get even more into Eddie Howe's way of playing and thinking by training for that amount of time. We've seen what's happened with Anthony Gordon, haven't we, in terms of his transformation this season after the work behind the scenes. So, you know, perhaps, I'm not saying it's a good thing, but perhaps there is a positive in there somewhere. So that's it in terms of the ban. So it seems long, could have been longer, but we will have confirmation on that from UEFA, and I think Newcastle very soon, if not already by the time you've seen this. But we have had confirmation today from the Italian Football Federation, who have confirmed the 10-month ban and who say that Sandro Tonali has cooperated amazingly with the investigation. Their wording was that Tonali has gone above and beyond with his collaboration and cooperation, so he's really helped them, hence why he's got the 10-month ban rather than anything longer. Okay, part number 2 is the suspended sentence, which I touched on very briefly in part 1, and that is essentially, it's an 8-month suspended sentence. So rather than him getting 18 months out of football, he's got 10 months out and then an 8-month community programme. So I think it's probably similar to what we see in like community service here in the UK when someone commits a crime and is sentenced for it. So what I'm told he'll have to do is he'll have to go over to Italy in person 16 times over the course of the 8 months, so every couple of weeks, where he will have to do some work with some young footballers who have perhaps got problems. You need to be there in person. You can't do it on Zoom. It's essentially a community programme that he must adhere to. So he has to agree to doing that, and if he agrees to do it and he does it, then on the proviso of that, his ban is only 10 months as opposed to 18. So he'll need to do that, and he'll obviously need to rehab himself. He's admitted his guilt. His agent has admitted that he's got a gambling addiction, so he's going to have to work on himself over the course of the next 18 months, the 10 months away from the 10 months football ban, and then the 8 months community order. Sorry, my phone's ringing there and putting me off about another live I'm about to do. So that's that, and it's something he's agreed to, his representatives have agreed to, and it's our understanding at Sky Sports News that he is already working with the PFA with regards to dealing with his addiction. Remember, this is a mental health problem. It's a very delicate situation. It's something a lot of people probably don't understand, and I think this probably opens up a bigger conversation as to gambling and addictions in sport, because I think it's easy for people to criticise Sandro Tonali, but maybe he didn't know what he was allowed to do beforehand. Maybe the education isn't there, but that's for another time. So he's going to learn a lot of that, I guess, in this 8-month rehab programme, as well as assisting the young players over in Italy, and that kicks in at the end of August next year when his 10-month ban is up. Okay, final part I think to this is, what does this mean for Newcastle? Well, obviously they need to go 10 months without a player of Sandro Tonali's quality, a player who was beginning to get into his stride. He looked phenomenal, I thought, against PSG a couple of weeks ago. We all know he got off to a flyer against Aston Villa in the first game of the season, and I thought he did well when he came on last night. I really did. I thought he kind of the midfielders, of the 4 midfielders who played, I thought he was probably the best, actually. But Newcastle are going to have to do without him. He was their main transfer target in the summer. Spent a lot of money on him. They're obviously sailing really close to financial fair play as a result of signing guys like Sandro Tonali, and they're going to have to deal with him for more than a year now. Well, for a year, sorry. They're going to have to. Are they going to have to change his style of play? I don't think so, but they're going to have to just do with one less body in there, and it's not ideal when you're already missing Elliot Anderson. Joe Linton's just coming back in. Joe Willock's just coming back in. They're not fully up to speed yet. Murphy's injured. Isak's injured. I know they don't say they play the same position, but numbers are low at the moment, and it's come at a really pretty bad time for Newcastle, I have to say. For the player, as I said already, he's going to miss the Euros should Italy get there. And for Newcastle, well, people are asking the question, what will they ask of AC Milan? Did AC Milan know? We don't know that. Can they prove that? We don't know. The only thing I can say to this stage, and we need to be very careful because it's a legal situation, is that Eddie Howe was asked the question on Friday, and he said, I don't know that yet. I don't know, but he said, look, I'm sure the club will be doing what they need to do. So has it moved on since then? We don't know. Obviously, if anyone reports whatever reports they need to be very careful with that. I would imagine Newcastle are probably looking into their options, but whether they can do something or not remains to be seen. AC Milan, we don't know whether they knew. The only thing I will say on that is Newcastle, when he arrived in the summer, did not know he had this hanging over him. They would not have spent £55 million on a footballer had they known that he could potentially be banned for up to a year. And Eddie Howe even admitted it on Friday in his press conference. He said, look, I was shocked, I was surprised when we discovered this in the international break. He received a call from Dan Ashworth to tell him, and he had no idea. So yeah, don't know. But the question, I suppose, aside from what did Milan know, is what will Newcastle do now in the January transfer window? We know they're close to their financial fair play. I can't see them going out and spending a huge amount of money in a central midfielder in January. That certainly wasn't the plan. I think they felt they had midfield tied up. Perhaps they'll move into the loan market and bring someone in till the end of the season. That might be something. They've not done that before. That might be something they could do there until Sandro is ready and back involved in August. That would make sense to me. Eddie again was asked last night about that, and he said, look, it's too early to tell. The club still don't have confirmation yet. They've not put out confirmation that this ban is here. We only know this because the Italian Football Federation have commented today and confirmed that an agreement is in place for the ban. So let's wait and see what develops, but you would imagine it's something that as the days and weeks go on, Eddie and his backroom staff and the recruitment team at the club will be looking into and thinking, look, can we replace him? Because it's a long time to go without a player, 10 months. So listen, pretty sad story. You know, everyone's thinking about Sandro and where his head's at with it, and you know, it's I'd imagine, you know, it's a pretty difficult thing to come to terms with. So as Eddie Howe said, he needs love and support, and you know, you guys as fans gave him that at the weekend, and then again last night as well. And I think Sandro, it's just time for him to try and get his head around things, and he's certainly going to have time to reflect on that. So I suppose the positive for him is it's not a 3-year ban, it's a 10-month ban, and maybe the way he has to look at it, or the way the club have to look at it, is that he's got a long-term injury and he's going to miss the season, which we see quite often, and you know, players adapt with, but he's not got the recovery time. Doesn't have to rehab his physical injury. It's more the mental side of things. So there we are. We all knew it was coming, but 10-month ban, difficult times for Newcastle. Injury problems mount, but they've been here already this season after the 3 defeats in a row, and you know, you just imagine that they'll hit back, because that is what they do under Eddie Howe. But guys, that's it from me, over and out. If you like any of the videos, press the like button, and if you haven't subscribed already, then please do so, and I'll try and keep you updated on all manner of things that are going on. Okay guys, over and out from absolutely sodden St James's Park the day after the night before at against Borussia Dortmund. Cheers guys.